Good morning. How is everyone doing? To take the time to welcome you to another morning glory. Apostolic Prophetic Center video on this good Saturday morning. And today we're going to talk about you don't have to prove when you are the proof. And what's happening is that God is calling a lot of people into service in his kingdom, I would say. And he's not going the regular route that men have instituted to prove who you are and what you are in God. He's not allowing these people to follow the rules and the traditions set forth by the modern day Sadducees and Pharisees. He's actually using his words and his power as a way of positioning people into his kingdom to show people that he is still God. I often wonder myself, well, God, why don't you just show yourself strong like you did in the early days? That'll cut a lot of this mess out. You know, the false prophet this and false prophet that. And that's what I often wish for, because if I ain't real, kill me. Because why I'm wasting my time trying to prove who I am so I can prove to people who God is, that now God got to prove to him who he is. Man, just strike him down is my thought. But that's not God's way of doing things because of the work of Jesus Christ. So we're going to be in 2 Corinthians chapter 3 today. And we're going to talk about proving, trying to prove yourself when you already are is the proof. To the proof. Paul starts this letter off uh, kind of peculiar because he's trying to do away with the works of who people think they are based on what school they went to, who they connected to, what church they attend, what prophet they listen to. So it says, do we begin again to commend ourselves? Or do we need, as some others, epistles of commendation to you or letters of commendation from you? You are our epistles, written in our hearts, known and read by all men. So what we got to understand, back in this time, as the disciple was starting churches, they had false prophets back then. And what Paul and the rest of them would have to do, they would write a letter and say, hey, this is apostle, prophet, brother, deacon, so and so, and we sending them to this church to do such and such and do such and such and do. You'll find that over in Romans 16 or 1 through 2, 1 through 2, 1 Corinthians 16, 3, 10, 2 Corinthians 8. So this wasn't an unusual task. But then you had prophets who would forge the letters. Or they would come and say, they used to come and say, hey, Paul sent me here. So a letter of accommodation wasn't wrong. So what Paul was doing, because many was questioning his authority, he was questioning their understanding. So why we get this message, why do you need proof when you are the proof, is when Paul goes into, you are our epistle, written in our heart, and is known and read by me. So watch this. Do you know there are people that still watch me that say I don't hear the voice of God? But every time you turn it on, if you take anything away, whether good or bad, You approve me and you don't even know. Because if you sit there and say, well, God, is he talking about me? Let me turn it on God and see if he's talking about me. And I mention you, you approve me. Now, if you turn it on and I don't happen to say something, you approve me. Because my gospel is not about the people that comes into my life. My gospel is how I teach you how I overcame these people. You been married to a nine years to a woman who says she gonna put a restraining order on me, but yet and still to protect you and your son, but your son still call me dad. Your son still say, Dad, can I have this? Can I have that? And what I do? I say, yeah, Joey, what you need, man? What you want, man? And this bastard, and I mean that literally, don't even have a heart. I know you hate me and what we've been through, but I I appreciate you still being a dad to my son. Run until I said I don't be can because that's the proof. If I was this bad narcissistic man, how come as a child of God talking to another child of God, I don't say Angel done, daddy. Your mama know your daddy, and I'ma go talk. Do I do that? I said, what you want, brother? He kept asking me my money because he want to go out. I said, you know what, Joy? I'm just gonna give you $50 every 2 weeks. And if that ain't enough, because you might have to use it, ask me again. If I got it, you got it. You know why? But that darn big old 31-year-old lazy boy of mine. Hey, Dad, I need $30 to Friday. I said, okay, Demetri. I don't know why I do that, but it's written in my heart. See, people don't see that side of the picture that she had painted. They don't hear the side where you get what I'm saying. And no matter what, Dad, I need some snacks. What you want, buddy? And I send them more than enough. See, don't allow what people say about you to harm you that you believe what they say. You the proof. When our old pastor told me don't talk to the people in his church. But the people kept calling me, asking me about draining information and all this. I was the proof. See, people like to get rid of people who are the proof that they inferior to who you are. They got to talk about you. They got to call the police on you. They got to make your ministry of a non-effect because they don't know what day it is. So watch this. He said, clear you. You are an epistle of Christ, ministered by us, written not with ink, but by the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone, but on tablets of flesh, that is, of the heart. I don't minister people based on this word. This word is a guideline. I tell you what's wrong with you based on the Spirit. I just said somebody emailed this morning. I didn't see it last night, or I seen it and forgot, or went to sleep, or whatever. And they were saying, well, how do we purge our hearts? I gave them the whole breakdown. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Y'all running away from people because you don't like their language. You don't like the way they may teach certain things or say certain things, but yet and still, you don't see that they really trying to teach you the truth. See, some of y'all been in church a long time, and you know all the rules and the foundation of the church, but you never been in the spirit. And that's why I lose a lot of people on what I say, because I'm looking at your spirit when I say what I'm saying. See, that tablets of flesh, that means the foundation of knowing who God is. But when you get in that heart, that's that relationship of you being intimate with who God is. Ooh, that water here. See, y'all looking for a word for God that will take you to the next level. But in order to go to the next level, he had to destroy the foundation that you built him on, which means he got to take away the falsehoods. He got to take away the naysayers. He got to take away you. And we have such trust through Christ toward God. Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think of anything as being from ourselves, but our sufficiency is from God, who also made us sufficient as ministers of the new covenant, not of the letter, but of the spirit. For the letter killeth, but the spirit gives life. See, y'all trusting to pass minister in training class. You trusting to pass seminary. You trusting to get a doctorate in divinity. Why do you trust all those things? And the word was built on the Spirit of God. Let there be light. You didn't have to go to school to learn that. God made Adam and Eve. You don't need no degree to know that. You trusting in man-made credentials and an unseen God got unlimited potential waiting on you. I ain't got nothing against nobody going to school, but whatever you learn in school, it'll never trump what I know because it comes from the Spirit. I ain't got to pay no money, wait on no financial aid. Watch this. Hey, God, what's going on right here? He either gonna tell me, he gonna say, wait, I tell you, or he ain't gonna say nothing at all. Either way, guess what? If he tell me, it's because I got the power to change. If he tell me to wait on it, that means either something got to happen in my life, or I got to see something that he said, now do it. If he don't tell me, it don't concern me. That's how I live my life. I don't get in people relationships unless they ask me. I don't just get in your relationships unless God say, hey, tell them that. Your life ain't my business, just like my life ain't your business. See, my sufficiency on living doesn't come with a guarantee. It doesn't mean I'm gonna have all good days. Doesn't mean I'm gonna have all bad days. It doesn't mean I'm gonna have a perfect life. But it does mean I hear the voice of God, whatever I encounter, I need. That's why nobody can't do no wrong to you. You can't do no wrong to me. If you was to kill my son, you wouldn't do no wrong with me. I had to go through it. You went to jail, I had to go through it. I had to learn something. Y'all mad at people thinking they wronged you, and you don't understand when you sufficient in God and trusting the work of Christ, everything you go through means something. The only way it don't mean nothing is that you don't have a relationship with God to see where it fits. He talks about ministers of the new covenant. That means you could have a relationship with God not based on coming through me. What I said the other day, some of y'all believe what I say more than what God tells you. We finna stop that. I ain't finna be idle because he ain't finna get me off this earth ahead of time. Some of you believe in other people. God will speak something directly to you. Let me go ask Deidre. Will God tell this? Uh-uh. Uh-uh. I didn't make this work. I didn't say let that be like. Put $5,000 in my hand right now. See? You don't see no fire, do you? I ain't got it like that. You do. Put me a Dodge. I want a Dodge Ram out there. Black. With them black shoes on it. With that, you know what? I want a mint chip inside. Dang it. I see a Tundra. I see an AMG. Even visiting some kind of sports car. And a Corvette over my trailer. Why they no Dodge Ram like that? See, y'all believing on stuff, and that stuff killing you because it ain't what God wanted you to have. See, some of y'all trying to make things happen instead of allowing God to process it to happen. See, some of y'all getting stuff too quick and you don't know how to deal with it. See, that's why we got to stay in the spirit. Because if we come down out this spirit and try to deal with life, we're gonna be confused. But if the ministry of death, written and engraved on stones, was glorious, that the children of Israel could not look steadfastly at the face of Moses because of the glory of his countenance, which glory was passing away, how would the ministry of the Spirit not be more glorious? For if the ministry of condemnation had glory, the ministry of righteousness exceeds much more in glory. For even what was most made glorious had no glory in this respect, because of the glory that excels. For if what is passing away was glorious, what remains is much more glorious. That's a lot of talking. You know what he was saying? If condemnation brought you to perfection, what much more perfection than you can have, then you ain't condemned in your perfection. See, Moses held the tablets of condemnation, which means we can see when you sin. And when we see you sin, we had to hold you accountable to the law. Now, this ministry of righteousness, we can't see you sinning, but your spirit holds you accountable to your sin. All right, so watch this. Everybody ain't got to know what you're doing, but you got to tell God what you're doing. That's what that's talking about. Which means I ain't got to go and say, hey, I'm sinning. Hey, God, I messed up. Help me, God. How do I get out of this? See, you ain't going to be crucified immediately. You got the chance to get it right. When Moses came, you didn't have the chance to get it right. You do this, you get this. You do this, you get this. When Jesus Christ came, well, God, I'm going to walk it out. Okay, this hard, God, they might struggle and sexual tension. So I got to give a little more grace over that. Okay, somebody gonna get on drugs, God. Uh-oh, I got to put some grace down. Ooh, they're gonna be homosexual. Okay, I got to put some grace down. See, the grace is acknowledging what you did was wrong and not accepting it as right. That's all he's saying. But see, you little pastors, that's what y'all is, because y'all don't like to be corrected. So I'm using the word bastard today. Y'all want to sit here and just constantly sin and thank God ain't gonna put the tail to the business there. Some of y'all gonna get a whooping. Go out there and pick your switch. Like grandma used to tell her, go pick your switch. Watch this. Verse 12. Therefore, since we have such hope, we use great boldness of speech, unlike Moses, who put a veil over his face that the children of Israel could not look steadily at the end of what was passing away. But their minds were blinded. For until this day, the same veil remains unlifted in the reading of the Old Testament because the veil is taken away in Christ. But even to this day, when Moses is read, a veil lies on their heart. Nevertheless, when one turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away. See, that's why I can talk what I talk. See, I don't need you to crucify me by what I say. I know how to go boldly to the throne of God. See, what he's saying, Moses didn't have no real boldness because he hid behind the law. That's what that veil represents. I can't speak on what you do, but I can see what you do. That's that barrier. So what it is, when they even today, when you go over there to Israel in certain parts, they still believe that the Ten Commandments are in effect. They can't believe Jesus had already came. See, that's why some of y'all hearts are like it is. That's why you in bondage. Huh? Because now the Lord is the Spirit. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Man, Brother Hubbard was in a place. Listen here, if I blink my eyes wrong, it was noted. No liberty. Every move I make, where you go, where you go, where you go. Man, I thought I was in jail. But watch this. You know what that did? As I sit back and I reflect on the moves I made, you know what that did? That made me appreciate who God is. And I never make a move unless He shows me where to move at. See, we got to stay. See, I'm learning something. I think I taught that. When you got freedom in God, it really ain't freedom. What I mean by that, I can go anywhere God tells me to go, but I ain't free because I'm listening to Him. But it's the liberty that when I go, I ain't got to be questioned. I ain't got to be talked about. I ain't got to be wondered. I ain't got to be assumed. I ain't got to be accused. I ain't got to be. You get what I'm saying? Man, that's so much friend. Because your relationship and your covenant with God is your covenant with God. When a person don't have an established a covenant with God, they won't understand the freedom in what you have. And if we're not careful, they'll take what they got and assume it as freedom, and it's actually bondage. Verse 18, but we all, with unveiled face, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory, just as by the Spirit of the Lord. When the last time you've been transferred? What does it mean by unveiled face? What does he mean by beholding in a mirror? We got so many people following this Christian religion, following this invisible God. And he really ain't invisible if you look in the mirror. We following this hard call of Jesus. And we led by this thing we're gonna call the Holy Spirit. But we don't even see no change within ourselves. Can you honestly look at yourself and say you've been changed? The old folks used to have that song. I know I've been changed. The angel in heaven done sign my name. Ooh, I know I've been changed. Some of y'all too stupid to know you ain't changed because what we just talked about the other day, you still doing the same thing. Ain't been changed. Only thing changed, you go to church. You know a little Bible. You got a little car. But you the same whore in church with same whore in the world. Ain't nothing changed about you. The only thing changed is your victims. Instead of victim in the world, you got victims in the church. The same thing. So why you ain't transformed? You know what I'm gonna do today, y'all? I'm gonna go check out that river walk they be talking about. See what's down there. Yeah, I think I do that. Because ain't nothing wrong when you change states that you see what the state got to offer. How can y'all be changed into Christians and you don't even know what God got to offer?